Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play Betrayal at Krondor, and when last we left off, if we check the main map, we're actually getting quite close to Krondor. That said, we're not going to be going to Krondor, we're probably going to pass Krondor and loop round to Tanner's and Egley. But right now, we're on the doorstep of Sarth, a place to the north that appears to be quite important, so let's head north and check it out. The path turned. After a few minutes of travelling, the roadbed began a steady rise, spiralling around the base of a sheer, rock-faced hill. Sarth, Locklear said. We probably have enough time to drop in for a brief visit, and it might break up the monotony of the road. Want to take a look around? Sure. Oh, that's big. From a distance, the Abbey of Ishap at Sarth had seemed a fortress, its sheer walled courtyard dominated by an ancient single-storey keep. But closer inspection revealed that a shop profited where once an ironmonger had forged swords. Delicate flowers bloomed where soldiers had once mustered. So what can I do here? There's a shop, there's somewhere we can enter, there's a temple, there's somewhere we can enter here. Maybe that is the same location. Ooh, there's somewhere we can enter there. Trees whipped at their faces. Mumbling about the inconvenience of castle engineers, Owyn led the way down the fir-covered slope, arriving at last at the mouth of a large cave. Told you I wasn't mad, he muttered. Looks like a cave mouth. Want to take a look inside? I'm gonna say no. Not at the moment. Let's go here instead. This one first. Ooh, a library. A supernatural silence reigned in the vaults under Sarth, a perfect stillness which was unbroken even when a priest would accidentally let fall a book while searching the shelves or when someone would sneeze while opening a dusty volume. It was as if time itself had been frozen here, trapped between the wooden cases like pages within a book. Oh, there's going to be a lot we can look at. Oh, there is a lot we can look at here. Let's start looking. The shelves were overburdened. Massive books which all appeared to be older than anything Locklear could imagine. Most of the works in the section appeared to be concerned with theology or philosophy. Not as well versed in the history of the gods as he would like, he reached for a less intimidating looking volume and began to read. Having expected by the title to find a book about Darla, the protector goddess, he was surprised to find that which seemed to be a registry of the names of people who regularly attended services at the temple. Also included was a special page which seemed to be a proclamation made by the priests of the Temple of Darla. Henceforth let it be claimed, blessed of Darla be the daughters of Fendel Halfgate, so named Thea, Andrea, Genna, Sarah, Kira, and Larissa, who in good mercy hath been right worthy and true to the goddess, having provided much-needed leather goods, grain, and entertainment for the woefully poor in their hour of need. From this day in the 2nd year of the reign of good King Liam I, forever shall your issue be watched over by the fortunes of the goddess. Interesting. So if I click again... just a few pages into the text, Locklear realised it was yet another book of dogma, though its author put a few new spins on religious theory he had been unaware of. After flipping through a chapter, he replaced the tome where he had found it. Perhaps there is a more informative book on this shelf, he thought. We could click it again. But no, there isn't. Right, let's keep looking. What about here? Gorath smiled, pleased to find something in the vaults which appealed to his interests. He thumbed through a book which apparently had something to do with combat techniques. Gorath scoffed as he began to read, realizing the author had little or no idea about the actuality of fighting hand-to-hand. Disgusted by it, he shoved the work summarily back into the slot from which he had pulled it. Examining the shelf full of volumes, he muttered to himself, "There must be another book here more helpful than that one." The game is really hinting that I should find a particular book. And that is exactly the same. What about here? Owyn scowled. The books arranged before him all concerned theories of finance, a subject which his father had long ago exhaustively bored him with. While he thought he would never again be interested in the subject, he found himself reaching for one of the volumes. Immediately upon opening it, he discovered it was a simple ledger, containing only row upon row of numbers, which didn't seem to add up properly in his head when he ran his fingers across the columns. Closing it with a snap of his wrist, he replaced it on the shelf. Nothing new there. What about here? Healer's journals littered the shelf. By far the most extensive collection within Sarth's impressive stacks of books, Locklear felt a little intimidated. Unsure what titles or names would be of most use to him, he picked a book at random and began to read. Unfortunately, much of the book he had selected was confusing or contradictory, and after struggling with it for nearly half an hour he finally gave up, putting it back on the shelf where he'd found it. Next book, he thought. Ooh! Quickly, he felt himself drawn into the book, apparently a journal which was kept by a healer who had travelled with one of the larger military companies of Borden. While it actually dealt very little with the actual practice of healing, it did have a few useful bits of information. In comparisons, it has seemed that herbal packs by far offer more beneficial effects, but only in as much as they will do more for the injured in question over an extended number of days. Usually, however, my patients have been near death and in need of the more immediate healing effects of restoratives. Interesting. Nice little bit of info. Oh. The books concerned magic. Searching the closest volume at hand, Owyn began scanning the pages, hoping to find a grammary of spells from which he could learn. Flipping pages, he was nearly oblivious of the priest who marched down the aisle and snatched the volume from his hands, politely replacing it from where it had come. "These books are restricted," the priest said sternly. "Long ago, we learned the wisdom of making sure an initiate had some training before embarking on reading our magical themis." "I've had some training," Owyn began, but was silenced by a hard look from the priest. "You are more than welcome to visit our other collections, but this is restricted," the priest said, his tone indicative that he would tolerate no argument. "I'm sorry." "Well, we didn't find what we were looking for, if we were looking for anything in particular. I'm just going to have a quick scan around, just in case there's anything else. We've looked there. There's nothing up here, there's that there. I don't think there's anything else we can do here. And I think this is, yep, exactly the same location. There is a shop. Stardock Annex. Owyn ogled as he picked through the assortment of magical items which had been laid out in an improvised store. Many of the items were marked by tags which indicated they had been sent from the Academy of Magic run by Pug of Stardock. Ooh! What are we... Oh! Made of light birch, the staff would be easy to swing should the need arise. Doubtless it had been put to magical uses as well. Several lightning sigils were burned along its wavering length, the points of their bolts originating from a small crystal globe affixed to a knobby head of the staff. That's pretty good. We have rings of Krondor. We have enchanted quarrels. Archers instantly knew it on sight. Flights misaligned on the shaft, head malformed, spine too rigid to allow level flight. It was a disgrace to any who crafted arrows, and yet the enchantment worked into the misshapen bolt by its sorcerer's maker made it a peerless quarrel. And an expensive one, too. Look at all these scrolls. That's Dragon's Breath. That's Despair Thy Eyes. We don't need that one. That is Flamecast. That is worth 400. Skyfire. Eyes of Ishap. Night Fingers. Nacra Cicatrix. Don't know what that one does. Skin of the Dragon, which we have. And Thoughts Like Clouds. Well, we're here. You know what we might as well do? That's right. We might as well do a little bit of haggling. We won't be able to do much haggling because we can't haggle for any of the scrolls. But we can haggle for everything else. 1,200 sovereigns. Oh, that's so expensive. That is so expensive. Gotta haggle for these now. We do have the ability to buy rations here. We may end up buying some rations here. Also, we can get a fairly decent discount on rations. That's unavailable. And we can get some restoratives too. They're a lot cheaper with good haggling. But that's all we can do here. Right. Now let's exit. Let's go into the temple itself. The shop is all that there. Let's go to the temple. The meditation chamber was spartan and strangely cold, seeming all the colder for the heatless flame. This is all the same. And there's this here. Ooh, what's that? Lockless squinted. The wall looked strangely barren, as if a space had been prepared for decoration which had not yet been crafted. Oh, we can't teleport here. Not yet, anyway. Locklear pulled the curtain aside. The rear section of the temple was as dramatic as was the meditation chamber. A large pool occupied the centre of a lush courtyard, hemmed on all sides by an alabaster parrot. This is the same. Let's talk. The abbot came quickly. A man of advancing years, his hair and beard seemed like a snowdrift, starkly in contrast to his dark skin, which was wrinkled like carefully crafted mahogany. Shaking Locklear's hand, he greeted them as if he had known them all their lives. "Welcome to Ishop's Abbey, travellers. I am Father John. How may we be of assistance to you? We thought, while we were passing through, that we would come and visit the famous Abbey of Ishop at Sarth," Locklear said. "You've done impressive things here." The abbot's eyes crinkled as he gave them a prideful glance. "We hope to do more. We've only begun our work here, but thanks to Brother Anthony and Brother Mark, we have come a long way." Locklear bit his lip, hesitant to ask his question. "Could we impose on your hospitality a bit? We have a few questions." "I would love to, though alas I have services to attend at the moment. But if you have questions, Sarth is the place to come. We have books on many things, and if you seek out Brother Mark, he can help you with a good many other questions. Good day to you." So, we need to go find Brother Mark. Let us be done here. Let us exit. And exit. The party's haggling ability increased. Yay! Also, we were in there for quite a while. We were in there for some time. Let us select all of these. And these. Oh, can't select that one. I keep selecting that one, just instinctively. Okay, what time of day is it? It is the middle of the night. Well, we should probably rest until just about morning. There we go. And let's go find this, Brother Mark. Wherever he may be. Well, I see a field. This might be a good place to look. A garden was nearby. Wrinkling his nose at the smell of fresh fertilizer, Owyn pointed out a small cloud of dust that rose off the roadside. Within that cloud, a mushroom-shaped man was hard at work, his hoe rising and dipping over a row of budding pink potato eyes. Flashing his irrepressible smile, Locklear crept up behind the monk. "I half jumped from out of my robes. Hello there, strangers." "I hope we aren't disturbing you." No, I was about to leave the garden anyway. Busy hands set the mind to work, you know." "On your way to Sarth?" "Perhaps Brother Mark of Sarth. Glad to meet you. We don't get many illerati here. Books don't seem to interest the commoners as much as gold or wenching. But we have scholars enough, all going blind from reading worm-eaten books, and a dozen boys scribbling away their youth in our vaults. It is an unusual place. I have a friend who visited here once. He told me that you worship the god of knowledge." "They do say that, yes, and I suppose after a fashion it is true. If there is a question that can be answered in no other place, your best hope is to look in our vaults." Speaking of questions, casting. Do you know anything about spell casting? "I know a little of it, though Brother Dominic knows more about it than I. As soon as he finishes his studies on Quegian civil codes, I'm certain he will be more than happy to sit down and talk to you about it. He should only be another 2 or 3 months at it, I would think." "I'm afraid we don't have 2 or 3 months to wait. Why don't we leave the brother alone, nephew?" "Now don't discourage the boy from asking questions, or he'll become afraid to question anything. I think I might have some time to teach you a bit about focusing if you can spare a few sovereigns. Say 50. Is that acceptable to everyone?" "Not right now. I'd rather have the focus thing active." "Really, we have other things we must do. We appreciate the offer nonetheless. If you change your mind, the offer will stand." And that's a good thing. Let's talk about the road south. "Are there any hazards on the road south from here to Krondor? We are in something of a hurry, and I would hate to run into any unexpected delays." "I haven't heard any complaints from the travellers that have been through here in the past few weeks. I don't think the mercenaries that stopped by to speak to Brother Dominic said anything of it." "Mercenaries? They're not in Quegian press gangs, are they?" Not to my knowledge, no. These lot landed just south of Quester's View on a ship called the Foam Spinner. As much as they've been up and down the road, I assumed they were in on a shore leave. Were there many of them? Many of them. If you laid them head to foot, I imagine you could walk across the Straits of Darkness without getting your feet wet. It seems one of those Quegian galleys can carry a small village from one place to another. So lots of pirates/mercenaries. So when is the storm going to hit? We're a little concerned about finding a place to stay so we don't get soaked. Storm? It is the first I have heard of such a meteorological disturbance. Brother Garum didn't mention it to me before I left the abbey this morning. That's strange. We met a gentleman named Rowe who said a storm had been predicted by the brothers at the abbey. I wonder why he would tell you such a thing. Of course, he has been acting peculiarly since his wife died. Terrible tragedy, and striking at such a time when he had to give up his farm. I really must feel for the poor old soul. Oh! So he has no wife and he has no farm. The plot with Rowe thickens. Let's ask about spells. Now that I know a little more about spellcasting, perhaps there's a simple spell you could teach me? Owyn. Just something simple, so we can defend ourselves in case we run into anyone hostile on the road. I don't know what you imagine is waiting out there for you, but I believe I have just the thing. I will have to run up to the vaults to search for it, but there is a little spell called Flamecast. Of course, there will be a matter of a fee, say 30 sovereigns. I know precisely where it is if you want me to run and get it. Shall I? Oh, that's a huge discount! If you didn't have it from that box earlier, and you didn't want to spend like 400 sovereigns, you could spend 30, but we already know that spell. On second thoughts, I probably spent far more today than I can afford. Very well, let me know if you change your mind. What about the vaults? Is it permitted for outsiders to browse the books in the vaults? I would be interested in looking them over. It's fine with me, but his brother Anthony you may have to convince. He doesn't like strangers wandering around down there without supervision. We have a number of rare and valuable books, and it would be the worst kind of tragedy to lose them to a casual browser. I'll warn you, though, you may have difficulty finding what it is you want. Many of the books have never been catalogued. Unless you know very specifically what you're looking for, either by the scribe's name or the title of the work, you may not find anything that will be of any value to you. That's the game not so subtly saying, if you come back here later, and you have need, make sure you know what you're looking for. Also, inns. Do you know of any good inns in the area? I think I might sleep a bit better if I could bear down on something other than cold ground tonight. There are a few. You might try Babon's Hostel in Quester's View, or the old Bywater Inn. If it weren't for my duties here, I would be half inclined to join you. Some acolyte somewhere has been trying his hand at dream sendings, and I have not had a good night's sleep in weeks. Dream sendings? Dream sendings? It's a way to send messages over long distances. Only certain magicians have the talent for it. Whoever it is, they can't be too far away, because the images are fairly strong. What do they seem to be trying to say? I'm not certain. The images are disjointed, though now I think of it, I thought I had seen your elf friend's face before. Now I know why. His face was in the sendings. Oh, it's people looking for Gorath. Seems we at least have a few things to think about. Thank you, Brother Mark. Always a pleasure to help. Come back and visit again. Perhaps we will. Goodbye. Oh, we will. Let us get some, accuracy casting going here. Because I think that is what we're going to need to, focus if we're going to take up this training. And you want to bet we're going to take up this training because, that's a good offer. Training for 50? We have tons of money. We can afford it. Let's save. Let's back up. And where... How far back do you have to go? Oh. Is he gone? Is he gone? I'd like... What? Do I have to go into Sarth and then back out? That's curious. Do I have to go into Sarth, leave, and then he'll be back? No, he's not back. Huh. That's unfortunate. I really sort of wanted to do that training. You know what I can do, though? I could go back and do everything in Sarth, and then I could go and talk to him again. That seems like a good idea, and that's exactly what I'll do. And so, when we come back, folks, we'll talk to Brother Mark, get that training, and then we'll carry on down the road. Because clearly, there's someone we need to deal with in our near future, and it's probably linked to the trap that Ro is inevitably going to set for us, because he doesn't have a wife anymore, and he doesn't have a farm, and someone's sending dream sendings about Gorath. Put 2 and 2 together, and you're probably going to get 4. If you get potato, you're doing things wrong. And so, I'll catch you next time, folks, and I'll see you then. Later.